Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Dynasty Bebop 1 year anniversary show. We're here to do some mock draft action with my boy here, Mushroom Dynasty. I'm the fantasy footboy, and we got a group of 12 individuals here ready to do some
get everybody stuff together.
What do you think, buddy?
3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Yo, yo.
Yo,
We're rocking out, dude.
Yeah, man.
This is exciting. Yeah, 1 year to the day from the time that we released our first video.
Yeah, man.
It's flown by.
Dude, I was just even talking about the other day. I was like, geez, it is like mid-March here. Like, where did like the winter even go? Ohio's been super weird recently with these like 60, 70 degree days just thrown in. So, man, it's been kind of nuts. But, to be honest, once again, nobody really cares about us. We care about fantasy football. So we're going to get right into this mock draft here. We got 4 rounds laid out. We got a super flex, tight end premium. Let's you want to go up to the 1.75? I kind of like the Superflex 175 tight end premium.
Yeah, we'll call it a 1.75.
Cool. Got it there dropped in the notes. Why don't you go ahead and randomize us up here, and we'll get a new draft order. I always kind of like doing the randomize. I think it just kind of throws everybody a curveball. I think sometimes people come into the room kind of hoping for a guy or a draft spot, but throw the curveball in there, let the cards lay where they lay, and see where things happen. So, yeah,
man, I kind of want to randomize it again. Yeah, I don't want to be right behind you.
Nice. I'm gonna clean up all the good. All right, buddy, smack that start button, and I think we're all ready to get some action in. So,
all right, let's get her rolling.
Yeah, man. So we got Chris the Carban. We talked about him, one of the OG members of the Dynasty Bebop. So, man, yeah, so what a crazy day or week so far in the free agency world, man. It's been some nuts stuff. We'll get into that once this draft is over, but yeah, sorry, we'll jump back into this mindset. So I'm all over the place today. I'm just excited about the 1 year anniversary. the music got me jazzed up, dude. But, dude, honestly, right. Caleb Williams, the 101, man, you quarterbacks, they got to go early. I really think it's got to be these QBs in the top spot. Whether you believe in Caleb or not, like, I think there's a QB in this class that's probably got to fit your flavor.
Yeah, I have 101, and I've already marked in pen Caleb Williams here, and yeah, I don't see any reason to take another player.
Yeah, man, I think it's a lot of smoke going on around the whole the attitude stuff, but I think that the arm talent's there. I think sometimes just these guys don't know what to do exactly when they're doing interviews, and that's all right. They just need to run good football teams. So I'm on the clock here at the 103. I've been diving more into this prospect. I was really back and forth on my QB2 in this class, and I've had a few 103s where I've been sitting here thinking like, what am I gonna do when I get on the clock? So this is good. It's a good pressure spot to be in. I think I like the overall ceiling of Jaden Daniels. I think that, I know he's got a little age against him, but, fantasy football, we're talking about scoring points here, and nothing scores more points than guys that can throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 on top. So I love it.
Oh man, this chat is wild. Yeah, I'm really glad about that Jaden Daniels pick, because now I get to take the person that I would have taken at 102. And I gotta back out of here. It's not, the iPad is not the preferred sleeper mechanism, but my laptop's a little consumed with the stream here. But yeah, I'm a Drake May guy. He's quietly like my guy. I think it's great because you might be snagging him out to like 106, 107, depending on how this falls. And I see him as a guy with a lot of upside, and he's doing everything right, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with Call Me Maybe. And I think we talk about still upside too. I mean, he's definitely an athlete. So he has a rushing floor that he can achieve as well, with maybe a little thicker frame that might be able to hold up to the NFL a little bit better. I know that's kind of my biggest fear with Daniels, is just kind of that slight frame. 1.75 Brock Bowers at the 106, probably a really good value, to be honest. I know it'd be really tough between him and Malik Neighbors, but you're looking at a premium of almost an extra point per catch. It might be it'd be a coin flip there, but right between him and Odunze is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, I can't fault you for taking any of the top 3 receivers or Bowers if it's 1.75 or 2.0 tight end premium. Once Marvin Harrison's off the board, yeah, anything's fair play in that situation with those 3: Neighbors, Bowers, and Odunze.
Yep. Brian Thomas Jr. Been rising up the boards. People are getting a lot more comfortable taking him. I've heard 108, 109. I think that him right above McCarthy for the ceiling side is probably a decent bet, but I do like J.J. McCarthy as far as just a QB2 on my team. And if I'm sitting at the 107, 8, 9 area, I probably already have a solid quarterback on my roster, I would assume. So him filling in as my QB2 is like pretty much ideal. Like, he could just be Brock Purdy with draft capital, depending upon what kind of system and offense he lands in. And I think that's more dependent for him than anything.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does get some draft capital and not some crapital, because yeah, if he's drafted anywhere below that like 11, 12, 13 slot where those real QB needy teams are right now, if he slips past that point, where we're looking at Kenny Pickett,
second.
like Will Levis.
Or we're looking at early second, or unless a team tries to trade up into the first to get him, because all the teams that made the playoffs last year aren't really interested in acquiring a J.J. McCarthy. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We got 34 seconds left for B.R. Johnson here. Hopefully he tunes in. Let's see if I can message him real quick and get him on the clock.
Oh, there we go.
Nice. Wow.
Keon, that's a surprise. But honestly, the more I look into Keon Coleman, the more oh, Buzz has got him. Yeah, the more I look into Keon Coleman, kind of the less scared I am. The 110 might be a little rich for me, but like I can't argue with it too much, because I don't really think he should be slipping past maybe like the 2.4.
Yeah. That's kind of where I think right now in my rankings I have him at the 2.3. So yeah, I mean, 2.3, 2.4. I think the upside is high enough where I want to go for it.
Yeah. Like I said, maybe I wouldn't do it as high as the 110, but I can't fault somebody who wants to take a shot on a guy like that. The 40 time can be kind of subjective, and like you can be fast, but you can be bad at running the 40. And everybody was kind of maybe just looking for a reason to knock him. And that 40 time that he put up there, was just a glaring thing where people could be, look at this, like he's bad. We knew it.
But then you look at Troy Franklin, who like failed every other drill, but somehow is still like kind of retaining his value in the market because he ran fast. But Keon Coleman ran faster in the gauntlet drills and looked way smoother during it, which is a more applicable drill to NFL wide receivers anyways. Not that any of them really are. It's like when you're running down the field catching 10 footballs thrown at you, but whatever. It's still a good skill of hand-eye coordination. So Yeah, X-worthy, I think going off the board here is probably pretty accurate. And, so far we have a sea of blue, red, with a little dot of the yellow, orange tight ends. So I think at this point you might be looking at these running backs. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Trey Benson. I think that he's going
Woo!
to get the draft capital. I know there's a lot of running back movement, which, hey, might just tell me that the NFL is looking to counteract some of these defensive schemes, and they're going to start pounding the ball maybe in 2024, 2025. Get back to some early football. NFL goes in waves on how everything goes. We had a pass happy league for several years, and I'm looking for defenses to start adjusting and offenses to adjust to.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm really not having fun with this pick. I kind of feel like I have to maybe pick Knicks here. I don't want to do it. I'm going to lean into the running back thing as well. I think this is an okay place to take Jonathan Brooks. I am going to not be selecting him in a lot of drafts, though, because I think Jonathan Brooks is going to get a slow start, and he's going to be a lot easier to buy over the first few weeks of the season, or during the hype season and the preseason and during camp.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a little bit easier to acquire at that point than some of these than your Trey Bensons, than your Blake Corums. But I see him as the long-term highest value running back in the class.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Kendre Miller vibes from James Brooks. So like I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. But I do think that means his value is going to hold through camp, whether he gets a lot of action or not. Kendre kind of. I was guilty. I took him at the 111 last year in the rookie draft. That was a little spicy, but he was still going right around the 1-2 turn pretty consistently. So, we got some people talking about how is Bo Nix hanging out there.
Right. Yeah, my main problem with Bo Nix is if 5 years in college football didn't turn you into like a top caliber starting quarterback, how is 5 months going to do that? Is he going to be able to completely change stuff and take a a big step forward? Sorry, this chat's killing me. But is he going to be able to take a big enough step forward? That's my question, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to bet on him. I'll let him fall to me in like mid to late second rounds, and you kind of got to take him there. But yeah, you're just swinging for upside. That's the dream.
Right, and honestly, I've just held on to my take lock. I feel like throughout the college football year, I like Penix on tape, man. Like every time I watched him, I was like, this guy's can play in the NFL. And then I'd be like, oh, this guy's in my top 3 quarterbacks. And then everyone's like, nah, he's trash. No, he's old. He's just injured all the time. I was like, well, I mean, but he's not right now. And we were talking about quarterbacks for year to year anyway. So I mean, geez, give me a solid year of Penix as an accurate NFL quarterback. I think that he's got the opportunity, or I think he's going to get the opportunity to start in the NFL. So I think that the 2-6 was good value for Lou on that one.
Yeah. Tilu's doing great. Penix has one of the lowest rates of pressures turning into sacks. So that's actually a metric that translates really well to the NSL, because you're gonna get pressured a lot in the NFL, and if you collapse whenever you get pressured, like a lot of young quarterbacks do, you're not going to see success. So I think that's a big boon for Penix, that like he's got that going for him.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Too bad that we weren't getting more of these eyes in the actual chat. We do have actual 5 people in our chat currently. So I don't know if you're over there or not, but maybe try to get a little chat action going over there. I'll see if I can bring them up on the screen. Oh, Deontay just went to Carolina.
Oh yeah, I've been all about Bryce,
Ooh-wee.
man. I'm in on Bryce and
Dude, that's
the
a
new
good
coaching
piece for
staff.
Bryce. I think that's like Adam Thielen plus, right? Like, I mean, that's Deontay Johnson. Like, it's
Is
just,
Thielen still there or no?
I mean, what 34-year-old Adam Thielen? Yes, is still theoretically there.
The ghost of Thielen passed.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
I
I wonder what the Steelers got for him because they would have had to have traded him. But wheels up for Pickens. And what new stud receiver does Pittsburgh take in the second round of the NFL draft this year?
Oh yeah, they
Make your
love
call
doing
now. Who's the guy that's gonna fall to them? It's gonna be Keon Coleman.
Oh, that would. Oh, I really wouldn't like that. No, I was thinking Troy Franklin.
Or they just figured that like it's Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson, and they probably can't throw the ball further than like 5 yards down the field anyways. So Fryermuth and J.J. Warren ought to get the job done.
Right. Yeah.
All
No,
right. Well, I got to get back on the clock here. All right. I'm really hoping that my next guy is available to me here at the 3-3.
Oh, I know who you're going with.
Yeah. Actually, I do have several names on my list right now, which makes me very
I
excited for some of these early third round picks. I do have a trade to share. You know, we try to end out every show with one of the trade we did that week. And honestly, it's been good for me. It kind of forces me to try to get a deal done every week just so I have something to put on the show. Gets me out there. It's been, man, the trade streets have been hot here this week. I tell you, like a lot of people have been updating trade bait and sending offers. I'm seeing Gardner Minshew for a third round pick. I'm seeing all kinds of crazy weird stuff happening. So
Oh, do you think that's enough for Gardner Minshew right now? Like,
yeah, man, who knows?
I
You know, but honestly, you're
because
not
yeah,
going to get
did
a
they?
second for him. So I mean, it's
I
probably
mean,
good. It's proper
you
value.
might get a second
Yeah,
if they don't draft a guy and he goes into the year looking like a 1 year starter. You might get a second for him. I don't know.
yeah. I saw damn Darnold.
Damn Darnold.
Daniel Darnold. I saw him go for a third round pick as well. Actually, the same guy has traded both of them for third round picks. Good on him.
Yeah, that's not that's being smart. It's not trying to just squeeze every drop out.
Well, and it was the same league that I showed the startup where I went with all those late round wide receivers. Malachi Corley, nice one. That was one of the 2 guys on my list, but man, Rye's not my board.
Yep.
Smashing
Ricky
it. I don't even
Pearsall.
have to like wane. Like I'm just smashing that button, running up with my Ricky P button, dude. Yeah, the more I watch his tape, the catches, the body control, the speed, it's all there. I think he's gonna get as much as early round. I know we can't get all these wide receivers into the top 40 some picks, but it feels like some of these guys are going to end up going in the first and early second round.
Yeah. Where did my guy go? I don't see him on the board. Oh, player search. Oh, there we go. Wait. Oh, it's saying I'm not. Okay. The iPad was being stupid. That's what was happening. All right.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm keeping the side chat going here.
Okay, yeah. All right. So the guy I was digging for here, Jalen Wright. Out of Tennessee.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
I think,
one.
yeah, if any early third pick, yeah, if Ricky Pearsall's on the board, I mean, there's another guy, another wide receiver that I really liked, and I was thinking about going with there. But yeah, Jalen Wright just looks like a guy that's gonna be productive in the league. he's not necessarily going to be anything special, but I think he has he has an opportunity for some 3-down workload. Maybe not super consistently, but he looks like he can handle it.
Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of these running backs in this class, especially the way that free agency played out this year, where there's not a lot of teams that are evidently super RB needy, it feels like at the moment. They seem to at least have like a body they can smash in there. Um, I'm not wanting to take my bet on more than one or maybe two of these per league. I think a lot of these running backs in this class are going to be year 2 producers and not year 1. So I don't want to be bogged down with just dudes on my team that I can't get rid of, that I might be able to buy cheaper for a third or whatever. I mean, you're getting Jalen Wright in a third, so you can't really complain. But if I already have Brooks on my team, then I'm probably not going to lean going with Wright as well, just because I don't evidently want to take 2 zeros possibly.
Yeah. The way I look at it is wide receivers just keep going up, and like the running back values keep coming down. And in this draft class, I am seeing wide receiver names go in every single round that I want. Roman Wilson was the guy. He wound up going at the 3-5. I was talking about him, but maybe some less sharp leagues, he's there in the 4th round. And like, if you could string together, one of the top 3 guys in the 1st round, Lad McConkey, Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell in the 2nd, and then a guy like Pearsall in the 3rd, and Roman Wilson in the 4th, dude, you just won that draft so hard. And yeah, you've got a lot of wide receivers, but you're going to be able to turn one of those guys into a running back. And that's the thing, is I know these wide receivers are going to hold their value, so I'll stock up on them. And then when I want something, I can go buy it, because I mean, I think that wide receivers might be some of the most stable assets outside of draft picks.
Yeah, from a value standpoint, although they can turn quickly, we do.
Yeah.
We can't forget about that either. Even the moment we drove Quentin Johnston off the lot, he like already, like, you couldn't get a future first for him, and you spent like the 107 in your rookie draft. So, wow, bam, bam, bam. There were several players that I really liked in that group there. So I'm going to have to.
I love Polk too. Polk with he had like a 993 RAS score or something. That blew my mind. I thought he was going to be athletic from watching his tape, but like I didn't realize we were going to be up there.
Yeah. No, I had Polk and Rice is probably my next 2, and then Ray Davis was definitely in consideration. So, all right, I just had another one, and honestly, this is one I'm going to take because I think that there is going to be the biggest trade opportunity, just for, once again, for namesake. I'm going to go with Luke McCaffrey here in the 4th round. I think work ethic, all those things. I'm going to go with the guy who knows football and was like, Christian McCaffrey owes a lot of what he is to the way his dad worked with him and made him work on his craft. And like, Luke may not be quite the player that Christian is, but I think he could grow into a very valuable NFL slot wide receiver. In that, like, the way Julian Edelman grew into a role with just being, a smart player who wanted to be involved with football all the time. Like, that's what I kind of see with McCaffrey.
Yeah, well, he ran faster than his brother, so he's going to be better, right?
Yeah, by a nose hair.
Yeah,
it's just better shoe technology, I think.
All right, I think I got to take the dude, Jalen McMillan here. Yeah, This honestly has been the hardest fourth round in a mock draft that I've done this year because, I've typically just had Roman Wilson there or Ricky Pearsall just waiting
Yeah.
for me. I haven't had to think yet, but I like McMillan. Honestly, that entire Washington wide receiver room was enough to chase Puka Nacua away. And we saw Puka Nacua skyrocket up those draft boards. He left that Washington room to go to BYU because he didn't think he could compete with those guys. So we know that these guys have played alongside with NFL caliber wide receiver talent and like held their own. So I'm in. I like them.
Yeah. What any other names left on the board here that you feel like are some decent that Gorendo, that Tilu and Javon Baker are both players that I thought were interesting. Good fourth round dart throws.
Yeah, I was this close to taking Gorendo, and then I couldn't take Brooks right Gorendo in this epic wide receiver draft class. I had to get one,
Right.
It wouldn't have been right for me to just load up with running backs. But yeah, on the list here, I like Jamari Thrash. I think there's something there with Michael Pratt too, out of Tulane. This guy has the physical tools, and I mean, most likely he's a backup, or maybe even not a backup, but like a team is going to take him. And honestly, the best situation for him would be like waiting for a year or two and developing, and then being put on the field. That's not going to be great for your dynasty value, so I'm not going to be picking him a lot, but I do like the name.
Yeah. I think Jordan Travis is another interesting late flyer here. He definitely showed at Florida State. He's got the athleticism. I think the did oh no, here he is. Johnny Wilson. I was like, did Johnny Wilson go off the board? I was curious. The 3-1. So yeah, wow, this was definitely a good exercise.
Pick.
Yeah.
What do you all
right,
let's check these rounds out. What do you think the best pick was in the first round?
Best value pick, I would probably say was JJ McCarthy. At the 109. It seems to be the furthest off of the ADP. I think you could also possibly argue maybe Malik Neighbors, depending upon how that whole situation lays out. But I would say JJ. I feel like I could. I don't like drafting first round tight ends. You know me. And I think Brian Thomas I could possibly have behind him as well. So I'd like to slide in JJ a little higher, assuming he's got that top 12 DC coming.
This has been my take for a while, and I don't see myself changing it, but I think Caleb Williams is the best value in the first round. I know you got to spend the 101 on him, but 101 picks aren't like Caleb Williams very often.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think you're getting way more value out of him than you're going to get with your typical 101. So I got to say that, like, it's the best pick for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to lie, because I literally today I was updating my rankings, and I was moving every week. I feel like I move the picks just a little bit further up my board, and the 101 has been sitting right around the 112 in startups, and I think it went up to the 111, and then just this week I was just like, man, I could take him at the 108. To be honest, it feels like it kind of is around the area now, because yes, Lamb, Jefferson, and Chase are elite young wide receivers, but the depth of the position of wide receiver is so deep. That's the kind of the thing. There's so many wide receivers. So it feels like I can just go buy Devontae Adams even right now for like nothing and like probably get pretty close to a CD Lamb 2024 season depending upon how it lays out. You know, JJ's got like a little thorn in his side right now with his QB situation, and you know, Chase has been up and down, and Lamb's gonna get a receiver two next to him this year, or probably, you know, an Adonai Mitchell or something like that. I could see Dallas bringing in a number two to actually bring some of the defense away from Lamb. So, you know, quarterbacks don't get competition; they get more weapons, which gives them more opportunity to score more fantasy points. And Caleb going to the Bears with possibly one of these top three wide receivers, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. Like, that's fun, dude. I buy me some Bears jerseys, dude. Like, I'm like I'd be excited to watch the Bears play football again.
Yeah, man. Cool. All right. Well, same question with round two, man. What do you? Where? I'm gonna ask you the same question two more times after this. Yeah.
Right.
What do we think the best value of round two was?
I kind of have to keep going back to this QB well here, and I feel like it's gonna be one of them. It's one of these Nixes, the B Nix or P Nix, is gonna be a big value in this round. So I'd probably have to lean there. The running backs, you can't say any of them are going to be values or not because it's such a opportunistic position more than a DC or athleticism or anything like that. None of these are Bijan, Gibbs, Brees Hall. So, you know, at best we're looking for, you know, a good Cam Akers or like a Brian Robinson around these rounds or something that just gets to a landing spot where there's no RB ahead of him and he's able to get the opportunity. So those are tough to say. And, you know, there's three wide receivers here that I don't super love any of them, to be honest. So I can't really say that any of them are super values or super or reaches or anything like that. They're all about where you would take them. So I think this round laid out pretty much like you would expect it. You know, Sanders as a tight end premium. Fine. He probably goes a little earlier, maybe in a 175. But I'd say that's pretty chalky second round. So
Yeah,
let me ask you, what's your favorite value in the second round?
Well, it's either Penix or yeah, it's got to be Penix. Honestly, I like Xavier Legette a lot too. I have been watching a little bit more Legette film, and he's growing on me. I don't think he's ever going to be necessarily like a dominating wide receiver one, but like he could be a guy that we see like his value grow. But yeah, I gotta just probably side with you and say Penix. I think this third round is going to be a lot easier to pick them out because for me, I believe that like Ricky Pearsall and Roman Wilson should be going at the end of the second. They should be somewhere from 2.9 to like 3.02, 3.03, somewhere in there. So for me, yeah, those two guys definitely stick out in this third round.
Yeah, because I think I even saw it in the chat earlier. Like these running backs are literally just gonna like do this after the draft. So they'll just part will stretch up, and the other part will stretch the other way, and there'll be some of these second and third round wide receivers that we like their landing spots that fall into place. You know, I had asked a question earlier in the week of, you know, who do you view as, you know, obviously if someone's going to leave the second round, who are these third round ADP guys they're looking to move up, a la Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice last year. And Ricky Pearsall was heavy name I heard on that list, and getting him at the 3-3. You say Roman Wilson, Malachi Corley, are all three players, and Jalen Polk as well. I think he's kind of the forgotten man of the wide receiver combos of and LSU. I think he's just the forgotten pair of the group. So I think Jalen Polk is going to be another really fun value. I'll probably end up with a lot of Polk being his ADP is pretty far down the sleeper boards right now.
Yeah, I think Polk is going to be a guy where if you have a number one wide receiver on a team, you really don't want to see Polk wind up on that team too, because he might not be like immediately taking over anywhere, but like if he went to Atlanta, like I wouldn't feel super great about like what's going to happen with Drake London. If they're getting a lot of hype down, we'll get into this free agency stuff and all the hype going on in Atlanta. But I think that a guy like Polk could be a realistic wide receiver that they would get. And like for me, it would at least be a consideration that would need to be like in there.
Yeah, this feels cloggy though, because they also just paid Darnell Mooney, right? 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, So yeah, I think that's puts maybe some kibosh on them bringing in another guy with decent capital. I mean, especially since they spend such high capital on this offense. Like bring in the protection. You got a 34, 35-year-old Kirk Cousins. Like let's try to keep him upright for the next 3 seasons and like try to actually do something with this offense. So
right.
um, yeah. So what
Uh,
about this fourth round?
yeah, the fourth round, I kind of just like where the guys that I would normally be mocking into my fourth round slot, like with them all gone. At this point, I'm just taking Brendan Rice. I'm taking Luke McCaffrey. I'm taking Jalen McMillan. These guys are all just in a bucket of guys that are like, yeah, I like the names. I think they could do something. And like, you know, I think especially with McCaffrey and Rice drafting those legacy players that there's some additional like pump on the value and maybe they're a little bit easier to sell.
Hmm.
So that's probably where I lean if this is the situation. But yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, like, let's be real here. Like, this fourth round isn't gonna get any better per se. It's all hope cast right now, anyways. So if you're after pick 36, then you might want to start looking at can I use these as parts of my move up, or this is the perfect time to be buying some of these free agent nobodies that people didn't really like, or backups like Kenny Gainwell just got buried, but Saquon Barkley gets injured, go buy Kenny Gainwell for a fourth. You know, go spend that. Go see what it takes to go buy Zach Moss right now. Like a late third and a fourth round pick. Do it. A future third and a late fourth or something stupid. You know, use those fours more strategically at this time of the year because like I was saying, you don't want to get stuck with these. And right now, it's got to be hey, that's Puka Nakua was a fourth round pick. Tank Dell was a fourth round pick. Brock Purdy, fourth round or not drafted. Now there's so many studs down in this fourth round. You gotta get into the fourth round. you know, go out there in your leagues and try to get these deals done because you know even though there's solid names on here, I just don't know if I want a lot of exposure to any of these players.
yeah,
One.
there's a very realistic possibility that the best thing you can spend your fourth round draft pick on is an existing player.
Yeah,
It's
Chuba
fun to
Hubbard.
take rookies It's fun to get the lotto scratch off card, but you could also just buy an asset.
Right. Yeah, because too many scratch offs will, like, a lot of times gets you bound up during the off season too. Because we'll go back to Puka Nakua. I mean, yeah, he was a fourth round pick in a lot of leagues, but I saw him go undrafted in a lot of early drafts too. So then you got just owners coming through and just. I got a bunch of empty roster spots because I traded away all of my picks, and now I'm just going to add Puka Nakua off the waiver wire for $1. And now I'm a champion, and I just added Puka and Tank Dell to my roster for $6 or some crap.
Yeah.
So
See, that's something that I'm learning over the past couple of years is that I don't want to have my roster completely stacked to the gills. It's almost more valuable to have like a couple slots that you're not super attached to that you can just use to go explore guys that are on the wire. Because I don't know, you don't want to have like Kevin Harris because you're like any RB on a 53 and you're like just holding him there, just waiting for something to happen, and like nothing ever comes around, and you literally held him for 2 years. He switched teams and like got a value bump and everything, and he never did a single thing, and like he was on a lot of rosters for way too long.
hmm
And so you can kind of avoid that by staying out of this round.
yeah, you gotta have a plan. If you're drafting Luke McCaffrey, when Luke McCaffrey looks good in camp, don't go, oh man, I knew it. Luke McCaffrey's gonna be so good. Just get rid of Luke McCaffrey, dog. Like sometimes you just got take your profits where you can take them. And I know that Ray and I got into it a lot in the office or during the season last year what to do about Puka Nakua, because every week Ray is telling me to sell him, and I'm like, well, but he did this and this, and he's like, yeah, but you spent a fourth on him, and like get a second. And I'm like, yeah, well, take that late first. And well, it was like, I held on and got lucky, and I was able to get two firsts for him. So. It's one of those games you do play sometimes, but you just don't want to play it too much.
Yeah.
But take advantage
I
of the
didn't
fact that
have
we just had one though, and see if you can get someone else to bite on that next one.
Yeah, I didn't have any Puka that I drafted. Was able to pick him up on a waiver wire in a league or two. But yeah, if I would have had Puka on my rosters, I probably would have sold him for a second, like immediately. As soon as people started being like, you got to get this guy. And, you definitely got more by waiting. But I think just selling for a second might have been the right move in most cases, because what happened with Puka is not the most likely scenario, and it's not going to play out like that most times. So you're if you sell quick when a guy pops, like it's like climbing a ladder, because if you just think of it as turning a fourth into an early second or whatever, just take the names out of it. You got better, and like that's what you got to keep doing, is not worry about the value that you lost out on by maybe early or anything, but just keep climbing that ladder. And as long as you keep going up, then you don't have to worry about your team. But if you just stay stagnant, then spots on your team are going to fester and rot, and then you're going to look up one day and you're like, shit, James Conner, Zeke, and Kamara used to be a great RB room, but now I don't know who I'm going to start week to week.
Right, right. But yeah, like exactly, like turning $10 into $20 is always going to be a win. Even if you maybe blew that $20 on something stupid that you didn't evidently like the best investment in your financial portfolio. But it's you know also knowing sometimes when you have that $20, when it goes all the way up to $20, maybe being able to take $17 for it and being able to still cash out on a high, even though it's I took a lot of heat for that 107 111 trade with Puka. A lot of people thought that was pretty light. And it might be, yes, if he's like peak Cooper Cup for the next 6 years, I probably lost that trade. But there's also a chance that one of my picks turns into that, or one of these two picks turns into four future picks because I'm able to split both of those assets off, and all of a sudden those turn into Josh Allen, and it's a whole different ballgame, where I just turn Puka into Josh Allen. So,
Right.
yeah, it's always being flexible, always kind of having a plan, knowing how active your league is. You know, there's a lot of different variables in that too, on how active your league really is, on wanting to invest in young players and how many you're gonna end up just sitting on. So, um, I think we're getting kind of this 45-minute mark here. I do want to go ahead and, as per usual, bring up a little trade action here.
Yeah.
Um,
Was there any free agency stuff you wanted to touch on before we wrap? Totally,
man,
or
it's one of those where I feel like we need like a show, and I think we're like,
yeah.
once this weekend kind of rocks out here, we'll touch base this weekend. We'll get a good free agency, and look at the new it's some new buy lows out there that maybe some people aren't really talking about yet, because a real
Ooh.
buy low is the one that you haven't heard on any podcast. Every buy low you hear is actually a sell high.
This
So.
is good because it gives me time to spin my web of hate against Atlanta right now, because I'm not buying the hype, and I think it's an improvement for them, but we haven't ever seen like Atlanta really do much. We haven't seen Kirk Cousins really go to the playoffs or deep in the playoffs. I'm not going to just start giving credit to teams because we think the situation just is magically solved. So I'm excited to get into that further. But yeah, let's jump into this trade, and let's see what you got for us. I haven't even seen this one yet.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit, but
Did see this
I
one.
thought it'd be a good discussion, especially with this rookie draft here. I think it makes it really, I kind of pull this down even a little bit. So in this draft, let's say we've got Jackson Smith and Jigba, and we got Marshawn Lloyd. To be honest, if I was
I
at the
feel like
212, I'm
Ricky
thinking
Pearsall.
it was like a Ricky Pearsall. It was kind of like in my mind. But we got Corley, Johnny Wilson, Roman Wilson. Any one of these players you can probably maybe pencil in that area. Um, versus Roma Dunze in this draft. So, yeah, what are you thinking? What side do you like?
Yeah, dude, I love it. Roma Dunze, I want the dude really bad, but honestly, I think the only reason Adunze went to the 1-7 in this draft is because it was 1.75 tight end premium. I think that the way it's going to all shake out is that's going to be the Bowers or McCarthy pick at 107, 108 in most leagues that don't have a high tight end premium. So I think you miss Odunze with the 107. So I can't count him in there. And I gotta say, yeah, I'll take Jackson Smith and Jigba over Brian Thomas, over Keon Coleman, over Ladd McConkey, over Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy. I want him more than any of those guys. And then yeah, with that 212, yeah, Ricky Pearsall, Roman Wilson, you're kind of just getting a better wide receiver than is going to be available at 107, and then a second wide receiver in my
Hmm.
mind. So yeah, I'm into it. I know you like Corley there too as a possibility at that 212, but
Yeah.
man, I'm scared. I don't know. Do you watch Rookie Big Board at all?
No, I don't
Um,
think so.
I love their videos, and it's criminal how low the viewership is on them because it's some great information. They were talking about Malachi Corley and how Yak doesn't really translate to the NFL, and like that's his leading stat, and kind of like what's made him a monster is the yards after the catch. And so I love watching the dude play. I don't want him on my fantasy team. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I get it. I've been burned by some of these thick boys before that are exciting on tape and run and truck guys over. You know, I would prefer Wilson or Pearsall, both over Corley at this point in the process. Um, but yeah, so for me, this was a best ball team that I have the 107, but it's only because there was really six really teams that out tanked me, to be honest. Like all of a sudden, I was like, wait a second, like I'm not a good team, and but everyone else was just so far away from me from a max point standpoint that there was no catching them, and I ended up making the last playoff spot, and obviously it was eliminated right off the rip. So, um, I'm a JSN guy. I know you're a JSN guy, coming out of college and everything. I still believe in him. I know the metrics and some of the underlying numbers don't evidently look that good for him, but in the limited opportunity he had last year where he wasn't playing with DK and Tyler Lockett, he was producing double-digit fantasy games, and he was out there. He had an 11 target game last year as well. He made a couple really outstanding catches in the end zone, touchdown winning catch, I believe, versus the Browns. So, there was definitely some upside flash enough where I'm totally fine taking his quote unquote value loss, re-rolling the 107, and just taking JSN and the dart throw of the 212, especially in this format being a best ball start 11. No, sorry, I think it's a start 10. Um, it's a little more shallow, but still, I think the two assets are almost always better than one when you're talking about making bets in best ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, especially when like I don't know if it shakes out like this, like if you're getting Ricky Pearsall or Roman Wilson, I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy,
I don't
boy, if
think
that's
those
the
guys are going
outcome.
to wind up. I don't think those guys are going to be there at the 212 by the time we get there, because kind of like you were saying, I think there's only 6 running backs in the second round because everybody thinks that the guy they picked is going to be like the guy who gets the draft capital. But yeah, that's going to sort itself out. And, we're going to see 3 of those names leave this round, I think, or at least move back in it significantly.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. Still a lot of sorting to be done. We got a lot of sorting hats still put on. Yeah, I think people are feeling pretty good almost out to the 109 area. I think people are wanting to put Brian Thomas Jr. into a tier of, maybe not tier one evidently per se, but just a tier of guys that I'm happy to walk away from in this draft. I think there's still a little sketch from other wide receivers in that next tier after him where people are a little more nervous. So, man, I'm all about it. So,
For me, yeah, it's like once a Dunze is off the board, it's Brian Thomas, it's Adonai Mitchell. I like Lad. It's costing too much now. If you're telling me I need to spend a 111 or higher on Lad McConkey, I think I'm just going to let him go. I think I'm going to let somebody else do it because I wanted to spend like a 2.4 to a 2.6 on him. Yeah.
yeah, when I was taking him with the 111 earlier, and it seems spicy, but it's just reality now. Just reality, sadly. So, awesome, man. Well, congratulations on 1 year making it through. Yeah, we are we did it. We got through a full year of making content. We had a little delay in in recordings when I was moving and you were moving on
With
from
my
some
family
stuff.
stuff. Yeah. No,
Uh,
but it was a very interesting family situation, you know.
yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was kind of hard to get any Dynasty content done.
Right, right, right. But you know, it's all done with, and you know,
I'm the
he's made it.
champion.
And we are here to be making weekly content, or maybe sometimes two
Double
times a
weekly.
week. Yeah, 2 times a week. I just found the sounders, so sorry you gotta listen to some super cheesy sounders. But you know, there's probably only a couple people left here in the stream. I got 3 sets of eyeballs and 3 thumbs up, so I like the way that number matches. But let's get some more thumbs up. Let's get some more subscribers, some more likes, some more mock drafts, and some more bebop.
Yeah, hit that music again for this outro.
Oh yeah, dog. All right, buddy. Well, this is it. Oh, wait. Hold on.
You can't do me like that.
Sorry, it was way too quiet.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together.